All right, it's 7 o'clock. Let's get started. Get rid of the countdown and our little backdrop here. Hello, it's Sunday evening about 7 o'clock. If you're following me live, you know that. For those who, are watching the recording, it's April 23rd, 2023. Seems kind of crazy. But so today we're going to start a new. Let's see. I want to change this camera a little bit. We're going to start a new portrait. We finished up January a couple days ago, and yeah, time to start a new one. I I I don't know about you. I don't think it's a creativity thing. It's more of an inspiration thing. But I have the hardest time finding things that I want to paint. Less so with plein air. I could pretty much plein air is outdoor landscape painting. Plein air means like open air, I believe. But I I don't have. I can pretty much set up my easel. Usually, what happens with plein air and outdoor painting is there'll be somebody that I want to paint with, and then I just let them decide where we want to paint, and then I just set up my easel. And I never seem to have a problem finding inspiration outdoors, but when it comes time to do portraits, I I follow a bunch of people on Instagram. I told you guys last week, Jan Ray was from that museum app. I had probably scrolled through 1,000 museum pictures, trying to find someone that inspired me. And if even if they are beautiful or interesting, the uh, the images aren't good to paint. Most of that stuff online and selfies and things like that, and even this one too. They have no contrast. They usually light the model so that they don't show any wrinkles. They're usually, I don't want to say airbrush, but filters. Filters are the death of me. I've got some really beautiful friends on Facebook, and man, there's one girl that's just so beautiful, and but every picture she posts has a filter on it, and I don't I don't know how to ask her to post something without the filter so I could paint them. I'm sure she'd be happy to. I just don't know how to ask her. But anyways, this portrait is of one of our models. Her name's Nathana. She's modeled for us. I want to say 3 or 4 times. Not only is she, my rice is done. Not only is she one of our favorite models, she's also one of our artists. So she gave me permission. She posted this on Instagram a month or so ago and gave me permission to. She gave me permission to paint it. I don't know if she gave me permission necessarily to stream it on YouTube, but I'll see her on Wednesday. And if she wants me to take it down, I'll take it down. But she's pretty much cool with whatever I suggest. Um, what else? So today, I mean, it's Sunday night. It's still light and beautiful out here. I've kind of been playing with different formats in YouTube. You probably noticed if you're following me real time, I've been posting probably last week, probably 3 uploads, a mix of live stream and recordings. And then I also been playing with clips. So I've had this channel I've been uploading for about a month now. I've had the channel a little bit longer. And, I got maybe a few hundred in the course of the month just posting these long format real time videos of me sketching and painting. And I uploaded one clip. So the deal with clips is they got to be under a minute. So I uploaded one clip last night. I put it in the wrong spot, so it just shows up in the video section. And then I figured out today that I have to upload clips from my phone, so I re-uploaded it from my phone this sometime today. I think it was this afternoon, and I've already got way more views than all my videos combined, just from a clip of me doing the last kind of the final touches of the John Ray painting. So interesting. I'd read somewhere that was the case that the clips get a lot more views. But yeah, I've already seen it. It's the same with Instagram with Reels. Seems like reels get a lot more likes and comments than the long format videos. So probably an hour tonight. My plan is to just get the sketch done and get that dried. I kind of wanted to talk about that last time. I really the so we spent a whole hour on the sketch for Jan Ray, which is a lot for you guys to follow. I know, but spending that hour made it so easy to paint the rest of the painting. If you notice that I didn't do any fixing uh, on the second part, we basically just painted. I knew that I wasn't going to have time to do the eyes or the hair that goes over the face. Um, and we basically everything that we did was on schedule. And then my plan for the third session was to finish up the eyes, do the hair, and then call it a painting. And taking that hour on that first sketch basically made it so that if you do a bad sketch and then you try to paint on top of it, it doesn't matter. I would have been fussing with it. It would have taken twice as long as it normally would. So what I'm saying with this is definitely take the time to get a good sketch. It just makes things so much easier and quicker. And it was also just looking back for me. There's practicing. Like I feel like when I'm in the studio and we're painting from life, in probably the first couple years of plein air painting, I always felt like I was practicing. Which is kind of nice. You don't get too caught up in how good your work is and stuff. But I always felt like I was in practice mode, and that I was trying to learn new techniques. I was trying to learn how to use a new brush, new colors, new mediums, new easel, etc. And that last painting of Jan was the difference was is I felt like I was playing. Like when you're learning a sport or you're on a sports team in school, and and you spend all week, say with football, you spend all week practicing, and then on on game day you play. And that's what I felt like this last portrait was. There was no practicing. We did the sketch, we painted everything else but the eyes, and then the last session we did the eyes, the hair, and some freckles. But at no point did I ever go back and like wipe out an eye to move it over. Like I think with one of the previous portraits, we kind of left it as, yeah, there's a previous portrait, that big format one, where I probably should have moved the eye. I have it hanging downstairs now, but I probably should have moved the eye and fixed it. The problem is it's hard to do when you're kind of in the third stage. It's kind of hard to do. Yes, you could do it, but it's just kind of hard to do. And ultimately, I decided not to do it. Let's sketch a little bit. Let me get started here. But anyways, take some time on your sketch. Take a day on it. Especially, so I'm pretty new to this too. I got a couple years in. I was just looking tonight at my meetup group. I've had this meetup group. I've been the host since 2017. So March 2017. So I'm officially past 6 years now. I'm hosting the group. So I've been painting for 6 years, but as far as portraiture goes, I've told you before that I've got about 2 years in, which seems like a lot. I mean, that's a lot for most things. So her chin is kind of in the center. The top of her head is about a third. Remember from our last session, we have this rule that we're going to decide where the chin is. We're going to decide where the top of the head is. Her hair kind of pokes out the top. So I'm going to use not the top of the skull, but I'm going to use where her hairline is. And that spot never moves. And then I don't know why I keep putting this cross in here. We're going to measure. The way that I used to paint was to put that cross in where the eyes are supposed to be. It's really, for me, just kind of the angle, and that's why it's so wide. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to measure where the brow is, the eyebrow, and then where the tear ducts are. And so let's do that. So anyways, we've said this is the chin, bottom of the chin. This is where the hairline is, and this is kind of where the top of her hair is on the left side, and it kind of disappears out the top in the center there. So let's measure. We talked about how to do it last time. Hold our arm out straight, use our thumb. And so I'm going to go kind of looking like where her brow is. And that's, for me, that's kind of the shiny part. I can't show you, but that's kind of, it's about halfway between her, between the very top of her eyebrow and, here, I'll draw it on here. So, I'll show you in a second. But it's halfway between the bottom of her eyebrows and the top of her eyebrows. And it's kind of like where the shiny spots are on the outsides of her brow. But let's measure that. And it's really kind of like where her eyebrows are in the center. So that works for me. So if I go from where her hairline is to the center, and then I start going down, so that's about a third of the way down. So kind of not quite the bottom of the nose, but it's definitely 2/3. So let's do thirds. 1, 2, 3. That's not quite enough. 2, 3. Do it again. So I've got it right about here. So let me get a little more paint on there. And so just to show you what I'm talking about, so let me get some more paint down here. Get some Gamsol. So, and then her eyebrows come out like that. And then like that. And then this actually disappears. But I'm going to put that line back there just to show that we marked it. 1, 2, 3. Not to show that we marked it, just because we're going to use it more later. The only problem with this picture is it's too perfect. Not that Nathana isn't interesting, but that Jan Ray is very interesting. So I'm not sure about that width yet. And so typically that brow is the width of the face. So let's just check that. So I go to the center. In Nathana's case, she's a little narrower, actually. So even in the widest part, yeah, her face is a little narrower. No, but her face is in front of her hair, and that's a lens distortion thing. So let's get those tear ducts. Remember, Jan, her tear ducts were exactly halfway. So and that's the same with Nathana. So from where the line of her tear ducts are, where they cross her face, is exactly between the bottom of her chin and the top of her hair. So in this case, this isn't a very thin, precise line, but that's kind of the top of her hair, where it busts out through the top of the canvas. This is where her hairline meets her hair. So we measure halfway between. Remember, we always keep our arms straight. We just keep adjusting. Oh, top of the hair. Ooh, that looked pretty good. Don't forget to breathe when you're measuring. And so I did a pretty good job. This is where her tear ducts cross. I noticed when I was watching the videos from the last time, my measurements, because of the way this camera over my head, the angle of it, when I measure, it looks different. You guys are probably thinking that I'm measuring wrong or whatever, but like I'm right behind my brush and this camera is over here to the right, so there's a bit of a skew. And even now when I look at that picture, so it's this bottom, remember, it's this bottom line, and I am going to get rid of that. That's starting to screw me up. But this is the line that's halfway between the top of her head and the bottom of her chin. And if we do a plumb line down from her eyebrows, I know I've kind of made an arbitrary spot for her eyebrows here, but so her tear ducts starts here. And remember, her eyes, the width of her eyes is the same distance between her eyes when she's looking straight ahead, and that seems to be the case here. So I see her eye tear duct about here. Let's see. And it's straight down from here. So I'm going to start it here, which already looks too narrow to me. I'm going to start it here. I'm going to say that that. Yeah, I like that. Let's get rid of that line. So we're going to say it's this distance from here to here looks good. And then that distance again, it's right about here. Along this line. Just measure again. It's almost easier to take the distance between the eyes and then measure out from there. So if I go to the source image, and so it's not the white of the eye, it's the eye including the in this case it's the eye including her eyelashes. You can measure yourself from the source image, but so keep that in mind too. If you do just the whites of the eye, then everything is too close together and her head will be too narrow. So I'm just going to put this in here for now. Just we're thinking about it. And this is kind of where her eyelashes are. It doesn't count her eyelid, which would be come up like this. Her eyes are kind of here, or her irises are kind of here. But that'll let us now do this whole kind of this whole top side of the head. Get more liquid on there. So this is a skull, remember? Let's do this side as well. And note how I'm holding my brush. I don't have the death grip, monkey grip, pencil grip on it. I'm way out on the end. And I'm actually sitting a little crooked. That's why my leg always falls asleep. But that's fine. If I sit right in front of it, then you guys can't see what I'm doing. You can really see your eyebrow on this side. And I'm kind of trying to do straight lines. I'm not trying to do curved lines. I'm also using negative space, so I'm kind of thinking about the difference between the distance between our eyebrows. And this line that we just made, that's a little too much. Let's do this side, and this will let us now cut into the shape of her head over here. So her hairline touches almost. Yeah, it actually touches. There's kind of a red shadow, but it touches her eye there. And then her face is really wide out here. I'm going to exaggerate a little bit because we're going to cut into it. Remember, I probably will save the eyes to last. It's been working for me. I'm just going to make this line down for now. Let's see what we could do at the top of her head. There's a bit of an angle there. All right. Let's figure out some of her other features like the bottom of her nose, her lips. I have no idea if that line is right, but we'll measure now. So if you go to this line that I erased earlier, which was the center of her brow line, and you go to the bottom of her nose, it'll take you too far past her chin. Halfway will take you too far past her chin. So it's not quite the bottom of her nose. The bottom of her nose is longer than halfway between here, where her tear ducts are, and the bottom of her chin. So it's just a hair longer. So I'm just gonna see what I could do here. So first I'm gonna find out where halfway is, which isn't quite there. I'm gonna scoot back a little bit. So that's about halfway, and then it's a little bit farther. So let's just draw that in real quick. Let's do some plumb lines to see where the sides of her nose are. So it's a little farther in than her tear duct, or a little farther out. Or the side of her nose goes into her tear duct a little bit, which is right about there. So I would have screwed that up if I didn't measure already. On the left side, the side of her nose cuts into her tear duct a little bit, and then don't forget the angle is this, to keep the angle the same. So this side is a little wider, cuts into her tear duct a little bit, so even wider. So this has to come over a lot. Let me get a brush that I can use to erase with. Oops. Almost dipped my brush into my soft drink. All right. It looks really long. It really looks really long in your guys' view. So let's just measure again to double check. So bottom of the chin to the bottom of the nose, I've got his I've got it. Let's see. The center of the brow to the bottom of the nose is just a little bit longer than halfway. So center of the brow, center of the brow. Oh yeah, I totally screwed it up. So I think what I did is I measured the tear duct. Yeah, I measured the tear duct when I wanted the center of the brow. So let's just fix that. let's just mark it while we're thinking about it. So let's see. I'll show you how far off I am. So center of the brow, center of the brow. And it should be just a little bit more than halfway. That's where the bottom of the nose should be. See, this is the kind of stuff that I would pull during Wednesday nights painting from life. Is I would just keep painting, and I'd start doing the color, and then I'd start adding highlights and finishing touches, and somebody would come along and they'd say, "Dude, that nose is like an inch too low." And sure enough, I'd be like, "It sure is. What the hell do I do now? I got basically a finished painting." And there's not a lot you can do. You basically just got to wipe the whole damn thing off and start over. So, I'm not going to measure again, but remember, straight down the side of the nose kind of goes into the, just a little bit into the tear duct. So that's going to come down here, straight down. And then on this side as well, a little bit into the tear duct. Remember, it's the same angle though as the tear ducts. I've been calling them the wings of the nose. And this angle comes down here. This one comes here. That looks a lot more reasonable. No need to worry about any of that stuff. It's all so easy to fix. That's why we spend the amount of time we do on this sketch. That's more like it. And I'm not really kind of an underpainting type of person, but this help just getting a little bit of color in here or a little bit of value in here helps measure a little bit. Getting the values, some of the values in there, lightest lights, things like that is helpful. I think I am ready to get rid of that line in the tear duct. Her eyelashes are ridiculous. They go way out over here. This isn't really a nostril brush, so we're going to leave it at that. All right, let's quit messing with that. Let's measure some of our other stuff. So I can see this is probably the narrowest part of her hair. It goes up and around. I'm not getting detailed, but I'm just kind of getting the shapes of her hair. Just because they'll help you measure other things. So like in the source image, like what if you take your paintbrush and you go and you hold it along the angle in the source image of her nostrils, you know, what does her hair look like at those points? So here I see it's really narrow. You know, it kind of goes in and then bounces out. And then there's kind of this little section here. On the right side, it kind of goes off the page. So we don't have to do too much with that now. Okay. How are we looking? All right, so we got the nose in. Let's see, how can that help us? I'm just going to double check the bottom of that nose again. Yeah, the bottom of the nose. It should actually... So the bottom of the nose is a little farther down. I've got it exactly at the bottom. Move it down just a little bit. All right. So now let's go halfway between the bottom of the nose and the bottom of the chin and see where that lines up with the center of her lip there. So I have halfway is not quite the bottom of the lip. So That's too far. Yeah, went a little crazy there. Let's move it up a little bit. I think what I'm going to do is, one sec. Yeah, so let's get halfway on here. Let's clean up this line too. So halfway looks about here. Still going to measure it, but let's take a guess. I think halfway is about there. I think our lip is perfect. The bottom of our lip is perfect because halfway is actually here, and then we're just a little bit below it. So I'm gonna call that perfect. So that would be the bottom of her lip. So let's do plumb lines again. So where along her eyes does the side of her lips. So I know I don't have her eyes drawn in, but her pupil is a little bit left to center, and then the side of her lip is right along that side of the pupil. Like if I cover the pupil with the top of my brush, that's where the side of her lip is. So, yeah. And that's about where we're at. Let's check the left side. So we're kind of right in between the iris and the tear duct for this side, which is right about here, actually. Kind of where we had it. All right. Now where's the top of that lip at? It's the center of the lip. So the center of the lip is the third of the way down, between the bottom of the nose and the bottom of the chin. So, 2. which I've got is right about there. It's kind of a V. And then it curves down and then back up. Curves down from the V and then just kind of twists up. Then I'm gonna say it looks like the top of the lip is a little bit below. So if this was halfway between the center of the lips, it looks like the top of her lip is a little bit lower. So I'm gonna call it there. Nathana's got one of those. Her lipstick has got her. She's drawn her lipstick higher than her actual lip, but that's fine. Come down like that. Down. Like that. All right, so that'll help us measure kind of the side of her chin here. This side of the face is quite a bit wider. And then she got two angles. Let's see. I think her hair is quite a bit wider than what I have. Her hair goes down here. Where's her neck? So her neck starts where her tear duct is. That's why it's so important to, it's so easy, like, you know, it's so interesting how everything lines up. And I guess when you get used to it, I'm still not used to it, but it seems so easy that, it seems so simple that if you just measure, everything just kind of lines up. And everything kind of lines up with something else. Kind of goes like that. What about this side? So her neck starts, it starts out at the edge of her eye, so I tend to make everybody's necks too narrow, but if we measure, we should be pretty close. And so this should all be black. This is all black. Let me get a bigger brush so we could block that in a little bit. And then how are we doing for time? 7:51? Yeah, let's block it in. We got a little time. Oh, I'm not treating my Xiaoming Wu brush very well. Look at that thing. Got paint in it. I think my roll of paper towels was crushing it. cool. I bought 2 of each side. 2 of each size. So they should last a while, but I gotta take better care of them than that. This is all, I got a lot of Gamsol in here because I want it to dry by before the next time I paint. But let's just block this in. I've been making everybody's backgrounds black these days. I gotta decide, this background is kind of yellowish, reddish, and warm. I gotta decide if I wanna keep that or just make it black. Black is getting kind of boring. We let all this dry for the last portrait. We let the sketch dry before we painted in any hair, and then I think the very first part of the second part of the second video, we blocked in the hair. So we got a little more time, so let's get a little more in here. We had a nice day at the beach yesterday. We painted at Pacifica, at Rockaway Beach in Pacifica. It was kind of gray all day, so it was gray till I left. I think I left about 1, 2 o'clock. But it was nice, you know, the temperature was nice. There's a lot of people on the beach. And I didn't do what I normally do. Normally I'll be like, I know the sky is going to get blue. I know the sky is going to get blue soon. And what I'll do is I'll paint the sky blue even though it's gray out. It's kind of guessing that the sky will be blue and kind of trying to wish it into being blue. Here in the coast of California. This time of year, the coast is really foggy until about noon. And most of the time the fog lifts, but sometimes it just doesn't. And yesterday was one of those times. It was still, I think it was still gray even by early afternoon. By the time I'd had 2 paintings done. If you follow me on Instagram or Facebook, you've no doubt seen. But I didn't, anyways, where I'm going with this is I didn't actually do what I normally do and paint the sky blue. I painted it gray. And they turned out nice. I think they turned out nice. Got lots of nice Facebook comments, which I appreciate very much. Facebook and Instagram. These always look so simple. Sorry, it is a little narrower. My image isn't quite so narrow. But I got this camera is at an angle, so it makes the picture a little narrower. Or it makes the canvas look a little narrower. It might be a little narrow. Let's take a look. This might come out a little bit more. Clean up this side a little bit. I gotta remember that's 3 angles. This goes down, then it goes like this, and then it goes like this. Whoops, like this. Maybe I'll draw that. This goes like this. This goes like this. Dubs won the day and the Giants won the day. That was my dog, I swear. But the Warriors won, Giants won. It's a good day for Bay Area sports. Put that line back now. I'm not going to go too crazy here. I just don't want any really dark spots. Looks pretty rough. Someday I'm gonna be good enough to where even my sketches are beautiful. But not today. Today is not the day. I started a new book by Rick Rubens. What's it called? The Creative Act. Rick Rubens is a famous music producer. If you haven't heard of him, I think he's responsible for the Walk This Way collaboration with Run DMC and the Beastie Boys. The Creative Act. It's all about he's a music producer, but the book is all about creativity. And I found out about it because I watched Joe Rogan. So Rick Rubens was a guest on the Joe Rogan podcast, and I'd seen like documentaries and stuff with him before. He's super smart and super articulate. And I think he kind of duped everyone. Everybody thought that this book was going to be all about, his life producing all these, big bands, the 90s and basically stories of gossip and debauchery and that kind of stuff. And it's actually just a book about creativity. And he talks a little bit about that stuff. Oh, another one. He was also the producer for the last Johnny Cash album. The one with the song "Hurt" in it, which is just incredible. You want to cry or want to feel something, just listen to that song. What else is he responsible for? Hang on one second. I gotta look it up. Rick Rubin. Let's see. So Beastie Boys, Ghetto Boys, Run DMC, Public Enemy, LL Cool J, Metallica, Danzig, Slayer, Red Hot Chili Peppers, Colt, The Strokes, Weezer, Linkin Park, Rage Against the Machine, System of the Down, Johnny Cash, and the Dixie Chicks. I think they call themselves the Chicks now. So he was a producer for all of those groups. And but anyways, the book is about creativity, and I started listening to it. I'm not reading it. I bought the audiobook. And man, every couple sentences I'm like, dude, I need to, it's like an affirmation, or it feels like an affirmation. It's like, man, that's amazing. I need to write that down, or I need to make an affirmation out of it, or I need to, I need to put that on a sticky and put it on my mirror for when I get ready in the morning. It's just so good. Go to Audible and listen to a little bit of it, or he's on everybody's podcast. So he's on Max Friedman. I discovered it on Joe Rogan. I think he's done all the late shows now. You know how it is when everybody promotes a book these days. They got to go on all the talk shows. But anyways, I started it, and it's pretty incredible. It's an audio book. He's got kind of a soothing voice, so it keeps putting me to sleep. And so I've had to listen to a few parts over and over. But it's pretty incredible. I think it's better as an audiobook. I don't know if it's something that I'd be able to just read. It's kind of nice as an audiobook, just like walking the dog or doing dishes or chores, laundry. My head in the way, yep. I think we're okay drawing wise. I'm kind of fussing a little bit. I'm not quite ready to start color, but if it was a studio night, I'd already be adding the color. Just kind of flipping back and forth, my eyes back and forth between the painting and the source image. Recall I got my iPad over here on the right, kind of checking kind of measurements as I go. Just seeing how things look. I'm trying not to have any like high ridges in the painting that I won't be able to paint over. Like this is kind of a high ridge. But I think that's a good start. Be a good place to end it. Go relax a little bit, watch some Sunday night TV. Oh, what else? I posted a bunch of events for I posted all the May Wednesday night events. We got a couple Monday night events. If you don't know our meetup group here in the South San Jose, South Bay area, it's South Bay Art. It's the name of my YouTube channel. But go to meetup.com. It's meetup.com/South Bay Art. And you can see all the events that I've got published. But I just published. I usually do about a month out at a time, so I published all of May's Wednesday night Um, Wednesday night, painting from life or painting from live model sessions. There's a couple Monday nights we're going to paint this in May. And then I posted all of the plein air events. So we paint plein air every Saturday. So I posted all of those. Not all of those, about halfway through May. I think those eyes might need to move out a little bit. I think they might need to move out. It looks fine in my painting, but whenever I look over to see what you guys are seeing, it doesn't look fine. So tonight or tomorrow, I'll check that in Procreate. I may have to find a way. To put that camera in a spot that you guys can see. I'm going to get rid of these pupils. They're kind of bugging me. We're not ready for pupils. But I'll measure, and then I'll talk about it next time. Oh, but anyways, lots of events for May, or the usual amount. Like I said, we do plein air every Saturdays, and then we do painting for models on Wednesdays, and we're going to try Mondays. Fridays were okay for a little bit, and then it just kind of dwindled. But Wednesdays we get been averaging about 12 to 15 artists. I think we had a little over 20 one night. We had a special event that we had like 25. But it gets too many more over 12 or so, then it's kind of hard. It's kind of hard to host and paint at the same time. So as much as I like to be able to say, oh, we had 20 people show up, it usually means that I can't paint. Running around showing people where the bathrooms are and helping them with their easels and all that fun stuff. I do enjoy it, but I'd rather the group be small enough to where I could paint. I had to miss it on Wednesday, but we had our first male figure model. Like talking to Robert, who hosted for us, he said it was a good night. It's a good model, good turnout. I'm just kind of fussing and bullshitting. Doesn't look like anybody's on, so I'm kind of talking to myself. A couple people maybe. Just looking I've got a big monitor that I'm looking in. It kind of resembles what you guys see a little closer than my laptop. I think I want to cut around this eye a little bit. So speaking of the meetup group, I saw today, there's this pro dashboard that comes with meetup.com. And so my first event that I hosted was March of 2017. So we're officially over 6 years now. Since I've been hosting, and then we've had 526 events that we've had. So that's a lot of Saturday plein airs, a lot of Wednesdays, a lot of Saturdays, a lot of Fridays. I should have had a party or something for the 500th event, but I don't get a reminder or anything. I'm gonna have to find a way to keep track of myself when I hit thresholds. I just happened to be looking today for, I wanted to paint at a place that we painted at in the past, and I couldn't remember when we painted there last, so I was looking at the pro dashboard, and then while I was in there, that got me sidetracked looking at some other stuff. I was like, let's take a look. And I've been telling everybody that I've been hosting for 7 years, but it's only been 6. I think that's a good spot to stop. I'll throw it in Procreate and measure it. I've been pretty lucky lately about being pretty close, but now's the time to check it. So Nathana is going to be our model on Wednesday. I don't think this will be done by then, but maybe. Depends on how busy my evenings are. All right, let's call it. I dig it. It's not too bad. All right, everybody. Thanks for joining. I really appreciate you stopping by. Be sure to like and subscribe. We'll see you soon. Bye.